Unfortunately, I have to say yes. And the only reason, and I'm not down with those fines, especially against my man Doc Rivers. But I'm going to say yes in this particular instance. Here is why. A couple of years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, actually 2017, the NBA had to end up going to the Players Association. Why? Because you had players that were sitting out nationally televised games. And obviously that wasn't good, in terms of building their brand and things of that nature. You can't sit up there and alienate or distance yourself from a national audience. This is what it's all about. This is what made the NBA into what it was. Back in the 1980s, the NBA Finals was on tape delay. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you got to take that into consideration. So the NBA, I wish they'd turn off that music, please. Here's the deal. When the NBA went to the Players Association, why did they do that? Because they wanted to make sure guys were not skipping games just for rest.
Yeah.
Okay? So as a result, the NBA mandated that for nationally televised games, you had to have their approval in order to miss games. In other words, they had to make sure that your sitting down was directly associated with an injury. Mm-hmm. The NBA, as you know, I have SportsCenter with Stephen A. Smith, my new NBA show that comes on Wednesday nights leading in the 7:30 game.
Wait, when does it come
Wednesday on? Nights,
Wednesday 7 to 7:30. 7 to 7:30, Stephen
leading
A. Smith.
Into whenever there's a 7:30 game coming on ESPN. My show leads into that. What happened? The NBA made it a point to highlight the fact that it wasn't load management, period. It was load management associated with an injury because their belief was, they were led to believe that there was a legitimate injury of that left knee thing. So we heard Doris Burke just the other day, the great Hall of Famer that is Doris Burke, speak on the issue about how sad it was and how unfortunate it was. Because here you have a guy, Kawhi Leonard, who clearly wants to play, and you're saying that he's not well enough to play on a Wednesday night at home against they played Wednesday night against the Bucks. Yeah. But you're well enough to play Thursday night against Portland. Doesn't seem to make much sense. You didn't know. But then when Doc Rivers came out and said, well, this is the way we're going to treat the situation, that gives an indication. It's not about whether he's injured or not. It's about you preserving himself to make sure he doesn't get injured. And that's a different situation. And you can't do that after the agreement that was reached in 2017.
There's gray area here because they're saying the reason he's healthy is because we're handling it this way. But I want to start by saying this, since we are here today. This is an issue of what is your mission? And the mission is not the same for the league and the team. The mission of the league is to make money. That's why they schedule back-to-back games, which is not a good idea. That's why they say you must play your star players, right, when we're nationally televised, because the mission of the league is to make money. But they do that by essentially televising. We televise the journey of the teams, and each individual team's mission is to win a championship. Sometimes that mission, they know it's not going to be accomplished this year. So to get a chip, we have to tank, we have to get draft picks, we have to do whatever, whether you like it or not. Here's our 3-year plan, because our mission is to try to win a chip. Sometimes they feel they're ready to win now, and their mission is to win the chip this year. Now, how they best deploy their resources should be up to them. The league should not interfere with the way a coach feels he needs to deploy his resources in order to best win a championship that year. So Greg Popovich, for example, load managed and won 5 chips. Who is the league to tell him don't do it that way? Unless they're talking about business. What the league here is saying is put business, not, you're not being competitive by not playing your players. Put business interests ahead of competitive interests. And the Clippers are saying, no, we're trying to win a chip.
That's right. And I'm saying, applaud all you want.
Go ahead, he told you, applaud all you want.
That is a ridiculous position to take. And I'm going to tell you why.
Boo all you want.
Y'all can follow that corny advice if you want to. Here's the deal. The reason why it's ridiculous is because, first of all, you speak about business as if you have an aversion to business. Excuse me, the reality of the situation is you are a businessman. I damn sure am a businessman.
No, you're not. You're a businessman.
I'm a businessman. Here's the deal. You're a businesswoman, et cetera, et cetera. You're not you're charging the paying customer. They're not watching for free. The 82 games that take place during a regular season matters. The greatest who ever lived, Michael Jordan, was just quoted as saying, "You get paid to play 82 games." Now, does that mean you literally should play 82 games? Of course not. If you're hurt, you shouldn't play. We get all of that. But if you are healthy, it shouldn't be, well, let me preserve myself to ensure I stay healthy, and therefore I'm not going to play. While you are charging the paying customer. And if the NBA is thinking about, okay, you're talking about, oh, it's about business. What's wrong with them being about business? I don't recall these players going to the when Kawhi Leonard went to the negotiating table, or he was going to get the max dollars, all right, and wanted the private jet and first class treatment and everything like that. It wasn't with the notion, well, you know what, I want to sit out 30 games a year. I'm not saying that's the because Kawhi, be clear, from what I've been told, Kawhi Leonard wants to play every game. Yep. Kawhi Leonard is ready to go all the time. But all I'm saying is you can't knock the league for thinking about the brand itself and what makes them who they are.
Sure, you can't blame them. You also can't blame the teams for saying, I know you have that interest, and they're overlapping interest between the league and the teams, but we're trying to win a chip. How many, I can't think off the top of my head, would you estimate back-to-backs you have in a season?
I don't know.
Because whatever that...
Kawhi Leonard sat out of 22 games last season. Most of those were back-to-backs.
Right. I understand the team saying, like, I'll give you an analogy, okay? Stephen A. Smith signs a new deal to do all these things. Let's say, knock wood, not to speak it into existence, let's say you started having a throat issue or laryngitis. And what we found over time was if Stephen A. does X number of shows in a row, it flares up. You know what? Instead of dealing with that, we're going to rest him on this day. It's when he has a Sports Center and the radio and First Take. We're going to rest him that day because it's going to best help us win in the ratings.
I'd like to answer that. Here's my response to that. To use the NBA analogy, if I'm playing a local television game against the Sacramento Kings at this particular moment in time, you might have a point. I'm going against the Lakers. We got a different issue. I'm playing on local television. That's a different issue than when it's national television. And what I'm saying to you is moments matter. Wednesday night, the Greek Freak, the reigning league MVP, an unquestionable superstar, who, by the way, is transcending to a level which you have praised on numerous occasions, shows up to your building. The only time of the year the Milwaukee Bucks show up in the Staples Center against the Clippers, and the star who knocked them out in the Eastern Conference Finals last year is going to take the night off.
Hold on.
I'm just saying.
Hold on. Let's stay right there.
My only point is moments matter.
Stay right there. Or do you have the nerve to bring up moments matter with Kawhi Leonard? Because when the moments matter, he is there to slit your throat. He showed up and destroyed.
We're not talking about him. We're not talking about him. We're talking about the team's decision to sit him.
The point is, in order to have Kawhi, therefore, when the moments truly matter, not to the league on TV, but to the Clippers in the playoffs, they're handling them this way. When the moments really matter.
So why not play him Wednesday and sit him Thursday?
That's their business.
That's not their business.
It is their business.
And that's the point.
No,
because you're ignoring the fans.
You are saying.
You're ignoring the fans. We remember them opening night, right?
That's right.
Remember when LeBron didn't show up opening night?
The Clippers have a right to put their fans who want a championship ahead of everyone else's fans who want to see Kawhi Leonard. The league wants to push back. They'll find the Clippers $50,000. And you know what Steve Ballmer would do? Here, take your $50,000. We're trying to win a chip.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. But Doris Burke made the point. How come you would play him Thursday but not Wednesday? How come it couldn't be Wednesday instead of Thursday?
Okay,
and
hold on.
And as Kobe Bryant said recently in the interview, when he had them back spasms years ago and couldn't go, but they were going like this. He's about to go up against Vince Carter when Vince Carter was supposed to be the rave. Kobe Bryant said, I don't have back spasms tonight. Because the moment matters.
All right, we'll leave it there.
In the playoffs.
Kawhi missed 20-plus games last season, and they won the chip. Speaking of the Raptors, the Clippers will be hosting the Raptors. That's Monday at Staples Center. Get a chance to play against his former team. That should be fun. Meanwhile, we got some football to talk about here in Arizona. The Browns are close to rock bottom, but fear not, Cleveland. You're about to see the turnaround this weekend. Find out why. Coming up, more First Take.
Wendy's has been showing